Hari Om to all the Atma Jyotis, divine light of the self. Today we'll listen to a beautiful story from the Bhagavatam. But let us start with the prayer. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahma Nidhaye Vasisthaya Namo Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So this is a story from the Bhagavatam. It's about two brothers, Gokarna and Dhundhukari. Gokarna and Dhundhukari. What is the story about? It's about how God never lets his devotees come to peril. God will not let any harm come to his disciples. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says again and again, Name bhaktaha pranashyati. They will never perish. The bhaktas, devotees of the Lord, never perish. So this is one such story. So on the banks of the Tungabhadra river, there was a beautiful town. This is in ancient India. And in this town, a very knowledgeable Brahmana lived. His name was Atmadeva. His wife's name was Dhundhuli. Dhundhuli and Atmadeva, they were a very happy couple. Though he was a Brahmana, he was very wealthy. They had no problems for money. And his wife Dhundhuli was also very beautiful. They were a good family. But they were unhappy. Why? Because they had no children. Right? Atmadeva and Dhundhuli had no children. And in ancient India, having no children was a big problem. People felt it was not a good sign if married couples didn't have a child. So every day Atmadeva used to sit in meditation and in prayer, and he would cry in front of God. Give me a child, give me a child. And one day he was walking in the forest and he came to a lake and he sat down. And again he was thinking about his fate, that he has no children. At that time, another sage passed by. Atmadeva took one look at the beautiful sage, beautiful radiant face of the sage, and fell at his feet and started praying. Okay, please bless me with a child. Please bless me with a child. And Atmadeva kept on saying, I must have done some sin in my previous life. That is why I don't have children. You tell me whatever I have to do as prayaschitta, as repentance, I will do in this life. But please let me have a child. And that Rishi, sage, he said, Oh, my dear Brahmana Atmadeva, it is not true that everyone who has a child is happy. Okay? Just because you have a child, don't think you will always be happy. And I can read your face, and according to your astrology, horoscope, you are not supposed to have children for 7 lifetimes. That Rishi told him. Atmadeva was not ready to listen to anything. He said, I don't care what my horoscope says. I want to be blessed with a child here in this lifetime. And so the Rishi finally agreed. And he gave Atmadeva a fruit, a mango fruit. And he said, you give this fruit to your wife and you will have a child. But tell Dhundhuli, your wife, that she should follow the path of dharma. She should be truthful, she should be pure, and she should do tapas. What tapas? She should eat food only once a day, and she should be very sattvic. Only if your wife follows all these principles, then she will have a beautiful son if she eats this mango. But otherwise, you will never be happy with the child that she bears. This was enough for Atmadeva. He was very happy. He took the fruit, and prostrated to the sage and ran home. The Rishi warned him again, look, if your wife does not follow the path of dharma, your child will not be a good child. He will be an evil child and he will make you unhappy. But for Atmadeva, he was so excited that he didn't do these words of warning, fell on deaf ears. He was too excited to listen to this. So he ran home and he gave this fruit to his wife, Dhundhuli. Now this Dhundhuli was a beautiful woman, no doubt, but she was a little crooked also. Okay? And Dhundhuli in fact means the one who spends a lot, lavishly, without thinking. Dhundhuvecha, we call it in Kannada. Unnecessarily we spend money. That is called Dhundhuvecha madodu. So this Dhundhuli was such a woman. She was kind of, very superficial. And she was not a dharmic woman. That is why that sage gave that warning. She was not a very dharmic woman. So the moment this Atmadeva gave the fruit to his wife, Dhundhuli immediately has negative thoughts. She said, if I eat the fruit, then I will become pregnant. Then I will put on weight. I will get fat. I will become ugly. These are the kinds of unmotherly thoughts she got. And then she also acknowledged to herself that according to what the Rishi has said, that I should lead a dharmic life and have food only once a day, I'm sure I cannot do it. I don't mind not having a child, Baba. I cannot take care of all these extra conditions that have been given. Okay? And so, but she told her husband, okay, I will eat the fruit in the morning after my bath, she said, and she kept quiet. And in the morning, what did Dhundhuli do? Quietly, Dhundhuli went and gave this fruit to her younger sister. So that she told her younger sister, you have the fruit, you become pregnant, you bear the child and you give your child to me. That younger sister was also, she said, she laughed at Dhundhuli. She said that all this won't do. I cannot bear a child on your behalf. So what we'll do? We will give this fruit to a cow. Let the cow have the fruit. Let us see what happens. So Dhundhuli and the sister, both of them gave the fruit to the cow. And then Dhundhuli's sister also became pregnant at the same time as the cow. And the cow gave birth to a calf. Actually, it was a half human and half man, the calf which was born to the cow. And so the cow's calf was named as Gokarna. It was a baby with cow's ears. So he was named as Gokarna. And this Dhundhuli's sister also, by providence, by the grace of God, she also gave birth to a beautiful son. And then she gave this son to Dhundhuli because Dhundhuli had convinced her that somehow my husband should be happy that I have a baby, so you give your son to me. And so Dhundhuli's sister's son came to Dhundhuli's house and she pretended it was her child. And so this child, he was called as Dhundhukari. Dhundhuli's son was Dhundhukari. Dhundhuli's son was named as Dhundhukari. And so Atmadeva was very happy that now he thought his life was perfect. But as usual, as the Rishi had said, this Dhundhukari did not grow up the way a Brahmana's son should grow up. That means a learned man's house, how should the child be? That child should also grow up learned or not. But this Dhundhukari did not grow up to be a learned child. He turned out to be an evil fellow. He had all sorts of bad habits in his life. He used to smoke, he used to drink, he used to waste money. He did not pay attention to his studies. He wasted all his life doing all sorts of things. Whereas this Gokarna, the cow's child, he grew up to be a very noble son. Because the cow is a noble animal, as we all know. And so, it fulfilled all the wishes, all the conditions that the sage had laid out for Dhundhukari's mother, Dhundhuli. This cow was such a good animal, so the child also was a very good child. Gokarna was a very good child. And so, looking at the way his son Dhundhukari was growing up, Atmadeva finally remembered the words of the Rishi. The son you will receive will not bring you happiness. Those harsh words the sage kept ringing in the ears of Atmadeva, and his eyes filled with tears. Just then Gokarna walked in and asked, "Father, why are you so unhappy?" And then Atmadeva said, "This Dhundhukari is not following the path of dharma. He's gotten into bad habits. He gambles and he drinks. He does all the wrong things. And he comes every day and he threatens Atmadeva that if he doesn't give up more money to him, he will sell the house, he will sell everything, and he will take the money forcibly from Atmadeva." So that is why Atmadeva was very sad and he said all this to Gokarna. And then Gokarna, the noble child, the noble young man, he reminded Atmadeva that there is nobody in this world who is happy with everything. Okay? You came with the world with nothing. Then you got a wife. Then you got a son. Every step you took thinking that will make you happy. But it didn't happen. So just detach yourself from all the happenings, in your life. And just think of God. That is your only salvation. That is how you get liberation in life. Even if you have got a good son, there is no guarantee that you would have been happy. But then Atmadeva by now was a beaten man. Life had taught him a lot of lessons. And when Gokarna said all this, it really went into his heart. He took it to his heart, and then he decided he will take sannyasa and go to the forest and contemplate on the truths of life. So that is how Atmadeva left his wife and son and his cottage and his village, and he went to the forest and took sannyas. The next day Dhundhukari came home looking for his father. Give me money, I'm going to sell this house, this, that." He started shouting, but the father was not there. Then Dhundhukari went to his mother Dhundhuli and asked for money. Dhundhuli had also become, fully bankrupt, because even she had a lot of bad habits. So both mother and son had become bankrupt by their bad habits. And then because Dhundhuli also said there is no money, this Dhundhukari became very violent. And he started abusing his mother. Then Dhundhuli was so unhappy, and all her bad deeds she remembered, and she was so upset that her husband also had left and went to the forest. And so Dhundhuli took her own life because she could not bear to see her son doing such the mistakes that she did. And and she realized that she had done a mistake. She had wronged her husband, and she was not even a good mother. And so she took her own life. And so now what happened? Gokarna was alone. Gokarna was the only person in the house, and Dhundhukari left home and went. And so like this Dhundhukari's horrible life continued, and he became more and more of a drunkard, and then he became a thief. And then once the king's palace, the soldiers came and arrested him, and they accused him of a theft in the palace, and then he was put in jail and he was to be punished. And then Dhundhukari also could not bear this humiliation. At the end of our life, we will all remember the bad things that we have done, always. And then we feel really ashamed. That is what we have heard from stories, in the Puranas. And so Dhundhukari also was very, very, he repented a lot, and he also took his own life. You know what happens to people who take their own life? They do not get mukti or liberation. It is only as a living being on earth that we can work out our karmas, good or bad. Isn't it? If we live in a haste without resolving all our problems in life, we'll become a pretatma, it is said. Pretatma means a ghostly body. What is a ghostly body? A ghostly body is one which doesn't have a body. Solid body is not there like us living beings. It does not have a solid body. but it will have a mind. The ghost is only a mind. It will have only a mind. It's called a Sukshma Sharira. And so it goes here and there and tries to look for a body which it can occupy and do things. So this Dhundhukari was also going around like a ghost looking for liberation or salvation. And so this Gokarna was still alive. The brother of Dhundhukari was alive. And Gokarna did all the Shraddha karmas for Dhundhukari. As a religious person, Brahmana, he did all the last rites for his brother. He did the Shraddha and everything, and he did Vaikuntha Samaradhana. He gave the dana to all the Brahmanas. This is what is done in Sanatana Dharma. For people who leave us behind, and we offer all this to the Pitrus who have gone away, we do all this as a gratitude to them and, asking for their liberation and taking their blessings. We do all the Shraddha karmas. So Gokarna did all the Shraddha karmas. And then he felt satisfied that, okay, my mother and my brother will now be liberated from their sins. He thought, and he was very happy. And then came early one morning, Gokarna prayed to Lord Surya Deva. And then, before that, but though Gokarna had done the Shraddha karma for his brother Dhundhukari came in his dream one day and told his brother, look, I'm very, very restless. I'm suffering. I'm undergoing a lot of torture in this Sukshma Sharira as a pretatma. I want to be liberated. Then Gokarna was shocked. He said, I have done all the Shraddha karmas. Then why are you still asking for this? Then he didn't know the answer. So next day, while he was doing his Sandhya Vandana, he went to the river and he gave Arghya to the Surya Deva. Gokarna asked Surya Deva very sincerely, what should I do to give liberation to my brother Dhundhukari? And so Surya Deva gave him the answer. He said, you read the Bhagavata Katha. You read the Bhagavata Katha in Dhundhukari's name, and then only he will be liberated. That is why Gokarna decided to do the Bhagavata Katha. Okay? He made a mantap. He wasted no time. Gokarna wasted no time, and he started to prepare for the Katha. And the thing about Bhagavata is it should be recited, it should be completed in 1 week. It is called a Saptaha. Bhagavata Saptaha. So Gokarna made the mantap from local bamboos. Those days tall bamboo trees used to grow in forests. So Gokarna collected the bamboos and he put up a tent, and then he called all the villagers. He announced that he will do Bhagavata Saptaha, and all devotees who are interested in listening to the stories of Krishna should come for the Bhagavata Saptaha. And then, so Gokarna started to recite the Srimad Bhagavata Katha. And how do we know that Dhundhukari came? Dhundhukari also came to listen to the Katha. He sat in one of the bamboo poles. He was a spirit. He did not have a gross body, Sthula Sharira. He only had a Sukshma Sharira. So he sat in one of the bamboo poles. This bamboo pole had 7 knots. So he sat in one of the bamboo poles. On the first day of the Srimad Bhagavata Katha, at the end of the first day, one of the knots in the bamboo pole broke. At the end of the second day, the second knot broke. And so on. The spirit that was sitting on the bamboo had 7 knots, isn't it? So on the 7th day, the 7th knot broke, and out came the spirit of Dhundhukari. But this time, the spirit of Dhundhukari had lost its bad aura. Now it had a divine aura around him. Divine aura. That means what? Dhundhukari's spirit was released from all the torture, and he was cleansed. He was purified. How was he purified? Because he had listened to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Very sincerely, that spirit had listened to Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, all the papa karmas had dissolved. And so Dhundhukari's Sukshma Sharira, he did namaskara to Gokarna, and he did namaskara to Srimad Bhagavatam Katha book that was kept there. Then he did namaskara to Lord Krishna, and he sincerely thanked Srimad Bhagavatam for the mukti or liberation from the spirit world. Then the moment he did that, what happened? The devatas from heavens, they came and took Dhundhukari away in their vimana. When this was happening, Gokarna was looking with wonder at this Leela of God. And when the time came and Dhundhukari was lifted and kept on the vimana, Gokarna said, "Stop, I have one doubt. So many people came and listened to my Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. But you are taking only Dhundhukari. Why only Dhundhukari is liberated? Why only moksha for him? What about the other several hundreds of people who listen to the Katha? Why are they not liberated?" Then the Devatas said, yes, that is true that there were many people who were present here, but not all were listening to the Katha with Shraddha. Only Dhundhukari was listening to the Bhagavata Katha with great Shraddha. So there are many of us who listen to the Kathas from one ear, and the other ear it is going out. Our attention is not undivided when we are doing anything. That is why Shri Prabhuji keeps saying, Shravana matrena mukti. Once you listen to the holy words of the scriptures, of the Vedas, of the Puranas, the stories, if you learn to listen with full faith and with complete attention, that is enough to give anybody mukti. That is how Dhundhukari got mukti, by listening to the Bhagavata Katha with extreme Shraddha, extreme devotion and Ananya Bhakti. That is how Dhundhukari was released from his spirit world and he became an Devata himself and he got liberation. So this is the importance of Shravana or listening carefully when reading or listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scripture. That was a nice story, isn't it? Okay? So we shall listen to most our stories from the Bhagavatam in the days to come. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormamamritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Nanu Nanimbudu Nanalla Ideha Manabuddhi Nanalla Satchidanandatma Shivananu Nane Shivoham Shivoham Shivoham. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.